I'm here in the London HQ supporting Fnatic. And I have one question to the crowd. Will Fnatic make quarterfinals?
The hope is still very much alive for Fnatic in this group. And welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk as Fnatic is about to do battle against EDG. And I know a lot of you LEC fans are thinking, it's not fair. Dash came to the desk with that whole tank of hopium all for himself. No, that's not true. I've got you covered too, LEC. We got just as much hopium for all of you. Let's see if they can get it done here. The stakes of this match are huge. For Fnatic, it's win to move to 3 wins and have your shot at a tiebreaker against either T1 or EDG. For EDG, it's win here and book a ticket to the knockout stage. Seeding still to be decided. They could end 1 or 2. But with the stakes set for this matchup, let's see what the fans think is going to happen, because they still have a 100% hit rate when it comes to the predictions. MasterCard fan prediction, and it's well in favor of Fnatic. I know I just labeled this tank, but it feels like a lot of people have had access to it if it's going to be that stark of a voting difference.
I mean, look, I saw the Fnatic cheers and waves and flags going, and then just a little Flandre sign peeking over there. Right. Maybe a bit of foreshadowing, but I gotta say, I think the biggest thing for EDG was kind of giving me confidence through that last game. I actually think they looked absolutely spectacular. Viper firing all cylinders, Meiko getting out onto the map. It felt like they'd kind of learnt and grown over the course of Worlds 2022, which I think is a very similar story to what we saw in 2021 as well, where suddenly Meiko had to adapt to all these enchanters that were coming in, the Yumis that were coming in. So I'm curious to see now what Fnatic have learned from their last loss that they can now bring to the table here against EDG.
Well, if we remember the last time these two teams faced, right, things got started very, very early on.
Not the way you would have wanted.
Yeah, and you know, the Sivir Yumi lane got ahead, as we're talking about, with how the fact that EDG do also look good on enchanters as well. But in that game, it ended up looking kind of close, and that's where I do think I'm wondering what we're going to see out of especially Humanoid and Razork. Those are the two players to kind of get Fnatic started that I really, really want to see strong performances.
Well, while they didn't get the win last time around, as you mentioned, they fought back valiantly when things went pretty horribly awry early on in the game. We'll see if they can rewrite history here in a second game up against EDG. Now, as we get ready for this must-win match, check out Fnatic's pick, Punjabi by Timmy Trumpet, as the song that represents their play style on the official LoL playlist on Spotify. Take a listen while we join Dracos and Kobe at the caster desk.
Thank you very much, Dash. Pleasure to be here alongside Kobe.
Are you excited? Are you tingling?
I'm ready, but I'm reeling from last game. You know, I'm
trying to compose yourself.
Is EU next? You know what I mean? Like, I've talked a lot of trash this tournament, Kobe. You're gonna have your chance to take a shot.
Hey, your heart is still beating in there, at least for you guys.
That's true.
The heart is still beating. You're still breathing.
Of Mr. Nas X, it's not over if we're breathing.
Exactly.
We'll see if that is the case after the end of this game. And I think for EU fans, it's about, you know,
It's about banning Yumi, am I right? It's about banning Yumi. I'm pretty sure that's what this whole game is about right here.
Yeah, I mean, that's baby steps. Step 1, ban Yumi. See, that's Caitlyn, so we're not off to the 100% right start.
Correct lane.
Oh,
the
EDG,
right lane.
Look at there you go. And that right there, some LPL charity. We appreciate that, EDG. Thank you. Aatrox, of course, going to follow. And if you missed the first Fnatic EDG game, it basically felt over at level 1. Some heroic effort for Humanoid to bring it back, but we were hoping for a much more even game this time around, at least with no crazy level 1 shit.
Yeah, it was an interesting interview after that game, too, because EDG were like, oh, we expected Fnatic to have everybody here. That's why they even brought Flandre to defend that red buff. The entire team rallying around him. Let's get into this draft, though. In particular, Maokai is still up. And they go with the LeBlanc ban here against Scout instead. Scout definitely popping off in the last game there with the Akali, so.
And there was some concern on the side of EDG how the team would function with Scout currently playing from isolation, but it was a beautiful performance, incredible performance from Flandre as well, and stepping outside of the wheelhouse that we know him for. The Fiora looking excellent. This is a pick that I have come out. I hate this pick into Aatrox normally, but Flandre made it look incredible, of course, with Aatrox off the board. With Maokai now off the board, we'll see what the adaptation is. Sejuani still up and available, Poppy still up and available in terms of tankier options, but the question is, where do Fnatic want to take this? And scaling control mages for Humanoid. Will he play anything? Yes, but anytime he has the opportunity, he will pick Viktor. He will pick Azir. He will be relevant in those late games.
All right, I wish you luck because our Viktor pick against EDG did not work out. EDG brought 4 people to gank Jensen in the mid lane, made sure that he went down. Let's see about the answers though. Graves is available. They could go carry jungle if they wanted to, mix up there for JieJie. But it looks like with Maokai off the table, the premium on Sejuani goes through the roof. Sejuani was the prime tank flex pick that you wanted to pick before the emergence of Maokai. So big one here for EDG. Flexible, of course, for Flandre and JieJie.
Let's see how long they hold on to that flexibility. If there is something that they want to immediately grab, if they want to show their hand. Of course, Akali, melee champion.
Feeling the Akali, the hot hand.
Strong synergy. I mean, it looked fantastic last game. Very casually able to just walk around the Viktor spells when he built such a huge lead.
He wants the ball. Scout wants the ball. Give it to him again.
And look,
Akali pick here.
and I'm wondering now, what do Fnatic respond with? They saw what happened to C9 in the previous game. How are they going to mix it up? What can they bring to the table to be different this time around? Razork pulling out the Poppy. The first game he played today on the Jarvan, not great. Second game on the Poppy, a little bit better. Have to hope the third time is the charm for individual performances today.
And Poppy's always, of course, a great pick into both Sejuani and Akali, blocking the dashes there. To your point about Razork as well, Poppy with the phase rush, you can get yourself out of so many more bad situations because of that rune. So even if you charge in, he's got W speed, he should have phase rush speed as well for himself to be able to exit, bringing the objective control of the Poppy ultimate as well. Well, looks like EDG, they were definitely feeling themselves with the Fiora Akali lane in the previous game, and they're going to run it right back. This one is blind into Wunder, though. So Wunder has the chance to get that counter pick. We'll see what he goes with. 2 protection bands to go for EDG. I'm assuming they're going to lay them into top lane picks here and take down for Wunder.
That's what you would expect. It's very curious. I like the confidence coming from EDG, drafting full top side as well as saving that last pick. You have to assume for something to secure advantage on the bottom side of the map.
They could, if they block out both Renata and Thresh, those are the 2 best Aphelios support partners. They could just double ban Hillisang here if they feel like his Thresh also deserves it. Meiko, of course, had an amazing one.
Yeah, certainly did. Big part of the reason that Jensen wasn't able to play in the mid lane were those roams from JieJie and as well, coming in with Meiko. Now, really seeing what the final option is going to be here. For now, purely bot side focus. Fnatic seemingly unconcerned with sculpting the top side matchup, or rather EDG. The Ornn coming out, though, does make a lot of sense. Even if the Fiora can come out on top in the laning phase, you don't want to make Fnatic's life any easier when it comes to scaling and setting up late game team fights. That's part of what made them look so incredibly good in the first week of groups.
Definitely true. And Viper gonna just continue to absorb bans here for EDG. I would say Viper as an AD carry, as a bot lane carry player, probably the most flexible in the entire world. Remember back to his Griffin days and him playing Vladimir, playing Yasuo bottom.
He's the only carrier I'm like, we don't need to add the AD prefix. He'll play anything if he's given the opportunity.
Bot lane carry.
Bot lane carry. Everyone else, they're AD carry. Viper, he's a bot lane carry. And it looks like they're going to opt to save last pick for Viper, instead saying, hey, the Thresh is a good blind, we take it away from the Aphelios, and there's so many champions that can pair very well with Thresh as a whole.
I do like that. That was our question of, are they going to just double block here Renata and the Thresh? But they get the Ornn ban instead, and then are able to first pick it and steal it away. The Nautilus, no hesitation there for Hillisang, though. Definitely one of my favorite support matchups, the Nautilus into Thresh, hook buffering there.
What is the option going to be for Viper here? Are they willing to take the back foot, maybe try to match some scaling with scaling? Jynx, certainly a strong pick. Has a lot of the same synergies that Aphelios does with the Thresh, the extra safety of the Lantern, fantastic against a champ like the Gragas or the Nautilus.
And the early stages of the lane phase, still quite good with the champ, even after Jynx taking some nerfs still. The rockets early on, definitely allowing them to go for that 2v2. I definitely expect, though, JieJie to play off the solo lanes early in this matchup. Sejuani plus the double melee solo laners here. See if they can, burn Viktor Flash, look for more repeat ganks. And for the side of Fnatic, a must-win game here. They need to win this game to push it and see if they can get their tiebreaker versus EDG to get out.
Do or die. Such a close group at the start of the day, but you can see those gaps start to widen and see if Fnatic can start to bring it back after some losses earlier in the day. 2 so far. Can they turn it back? 2-1 first week. Can they make it a 1-2 to force the tiebreaker? Fnatic fans in the audience feeling confident. Fnatic fans out in London feeling confident, but we'll have to see.
And I would feel pretty confident in this setup for Fnatic. This is what you would want. Wunder on one of those playmaking tanks top lane, Humanoid and Upset on highly scaling, proficient team fighting carries here. The only drawback is that both Viktor and Aphelios are easily targeted, easily dove. So you have to look for EDG burning the flashes on those two carries, looking for the repeat ganks on them early on before the 5-on-5 battle lines get set up.
As we enter the game, it is important to highlight, too, on the side of EDG. There's a lot of raw power, but reliable engage tools pretty much exclusively in the jungle. Fiora not packing a lot of hard CC. Thresh hook, not the most reliable if it's not secondary or follow-up CC. So Fnatic a lot more tools to kick fights off, but can they get to those stages? The big question on my mind, because Flandre looked scary last game. Gragas body slam, does not feel good in a Fiora lane.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to have to see a cleanse on Upset. There we go, cleanse on Upset. With the Sejuani jungle, with the Thresh. Meiko doing magical things on that Thresh previously. Here we go. Fnatic fighting for their lives.
Before we get any level 1 action, don't forget to link your league account with Prime Gaming. Receive some free digital goodies, some in-game content. Crowd alive here in New York. A lot of LPL fans out today. Fnatic fans fighting back, and this time, the sigh of relief. It was a multi-step process, Fnatic fans. Step 1, ban Yuumi. Step 2, don't die at level 1. So far, so good.
Yeah, careful with the invades there. Last time around, the red buff invade definitely turning all the way back around on them. Looks like it will be completed on that step. As they retake as well, switch over to the sweeper for Razork, but if you go back and you switch it there for the jungle, it won't be back up in time to clear it before your buff spawns. And so control ward back behind the red buff there for Razork, for Fnatic, playing it very safe here. Raptor start.
Track the early jungle pathing, and early lane match is also a big question. We've seen Viktor Akali relatively quiet till level 6 starts to come through. Humanoid going to build whatever advantage he can. Well, he has the range advantage. Well, there's not that threat of the all-in. Top side, very interesting. We saw Flandre is the Gragas top in the LPL, and probably the Gragas top in the world outside of the only other Gragas top, who's basically Wunder. So I'm really curious to see how Flandre navigates this matchup, because it should not catch him off guard in any way.
Yeah, I was definitely going to look for some big Wunder plays here on this champ, since he's been so comfortable with it. Early on, too, he's getting the push against Fiora on the top side, and pointing out Razork jungle path here avoids completely that ward on our red buff, and it looks to just clear up towards blue quadrant right now. See if it will ping right down back to the other side. They do have a bit of a miss on their guess, though, for the red buff. Maybe thinking, okay, Sejuani started red down to this bottom side already, pushing in on bottom lane here. Should be able to trade on the scuttles.
Yep, and for now, Fnatic falling getting pushed in a little bit. Thresh, obviously, much easier time contesting the wave early on. Jynx, a bit of extra range advantage, partially matched by the caliber, but not quite 100%. JieJie moving in, getting a little additional vision, has now been spotted on the ward. Humanoid knows it is time to back up, playing towards the top side of the lane, but no greater advantages, no crazy ganks quite yet. Razork, about half health as he returns to the bottom side jungle.
Yeah, and the extra time there, Razork going to be a camp up here on JieJie as he clears out the ward in the line brush, but does not know that the extra control ward was purchased and put over there behind the back of the red buff. Afforded to Razork because, of course, he has foregone the refillable potion. Poppy definitely easy time clearing, so no problem doing that.
Definitely the case. Wunder, meanwhile, keeping the pressure up on the top side. Cask makes it so early on. Fiora lacks really any substantial wave clear unless she can just bully you off the wave, deny your access to it.
Good respect here from Viper and Meiko, backing off as the aggressive posturing from Hylissang. Oh, Hilly walks in, gets hooked.
Flirting with disaster, but they've got the snare follow-up for Meiko. They're gonna get the double snare as well. Upset just trading back. Razork in the area, but cannot fully commit here. Lantern out and taken. Fnatic gonna be able to crash this wave, forcing EDG to stay in lane for at least a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think they clear this one out while Sejuani clears up towards the top of the side. Humanoid as well, fresh trinket ward here to see the other side, so really good attention to mid lane warding so far for Fnatic. Again, Humanoid, fresh ward here, sees JieJie, go for the top scuttle crab. They've been able to track the Sejuani so well.
Really, really crucial early on. The synergy, of course, with Sejuani in these melee lanes is so incredibly difficult to deal with if she can ever get on top of you, but so far denied. Razork now coming in, seemingly just to help make sure they can knock this wave in. If they want to go for the dive, it would be risky, but they do want it. Now the Ignite already ticking down. Viper taking so much damage, but they're already gonna get first blood. Can they get one back in return? So far, just a 1-for-1 first blood in favor of EDG, but ultimately losing so much CS as the wave crashes into tower.
Oof, that was a good play there from Meiko, allowing them to get the kill. JieJie, though, is on the attack. Humanoid.
Not backing up, has now been locked up. 1, 2 on the stacks. Now looking for 3, 4. The stun, the gravity field there, and it is not enough. Scout finding the kill.
And the patience there. JieJie goes in, Q flashes onto Humanoid to make sure that they get that Arctic Assault onto him. And once he has that, he saves the W for Humanoid's flash. So once Humanoid does flash, he's already got the slow there for Scout to set him up for the E. Scout holds his shuriken until he's sure he can hit it. Really good setup there from JieJie on that gank. It's so hard. You were just talking about it, Dracos. The setup there with the Sejuani and the melee. So Razork gonna pop over and find the ward.
Just gonna delay the back with Flandre a little bit here, but this has been a bit difficult for Fnatic. The one play that they initiate on the bottom side, we can see here, just about even at the end of the day, taking into account the first blood.
Yeah. So good hook there initially onto Viper. Then the Flay gets him some distance and it makes that sure that it's going to be a 1-for-1. The first blood is achieved by EDG, but it did go down to Meiko, him getting the last hit there. So
that is a good point.
At least that money going over to the Thresh, one of the champs that can least utilize it. And this is what I'm talking about. Because he goes with the Arctic Assault flash there, guaranteeing he gets the knockup and follow-up slow there for the W after Humanoid's flash. It guarantees the setup for Scout. And now Scout has ultimate as well.
Playing with confidence here, has to back out of the gravity field. Humanoid now walking back. Razork in the area, but won't be able to get a lot else done. Ren surviving that first all-in, but a pretty explosive mid lane now. Razork waiting in the area. Hex Flash being channeled, ready to go in. Scout now knocked back, knocked out of his own Shroud. Cannot leap back to safety with the shuriken flip, but will not need to do so.
I think it's a really good window for Fnatic to survive there. I was very worried for Humanoid after having no flash and Scout just achieving level 6 there for the ult. But him trading ults and damage positive trade onto Scout, very good for the Viktor. Should allow him to finish up with some more farming. JieJie though.
JieJie stepping forward. Hillisang going to get the hook out to safety. That's going to be big. The root now responding. Razork coming in as well. Upset, red-white, ready to fight. Will lock up Meiko, that's gonna be big. Good damage now coming in, JieJie trying to turn and burn the lockup. The stun coming in, Upset, cleansing out to safety. He can do so much damage if he's given time to trade, but he will not be given any time whatsoever. EDG pushing in, taking another kill back.
Oh, it's the aggressive move from Fnatic, turned around again. They even expanded the control ward on the Lantern to try and block JieJie from taking it. But EDG get out, they defend it 3v3, they turn around with another kill.
And right now, EDG fans calling for more fuel for the fire, and you can see why JieJie waits so patiently. And Fnatic, they think they can turn this back after Hillisang gets out.
Yeah, they even, there it is. They try and control ward the Lantern, but JieJie had already clicked on it, so he's out. And then Razork jumps in. As soon as they get the hook onto Meiko, he flashes out, and they've got these Sejuani stuns, stacking them up so quickly. Meiko hits another death sentence, forcing the cleanse, so Upset knows he's gonna have to flash out of there and back to mid.
Hillisang, 1v1ing enemy mid laner as expected, I suppose, from Hillisang. Has roamed up to mid lane, does generate a little bit more pressure, but you can see Fnatic trying to up the pace a little bit, trying to get something else on the map.
EDG are just warmed up and just firing on all cylinders here. Meiko on the Thresh again, being able to make so many plays for this squad, and JieJie making a lot of moves on Sejuani early on to try and get these lanes in a positive state.
And credit to him for getting so much done before he even had access to the ultimate. The ganks and the setup gets so much easier now. Difficult early on for Upset and Hillisang. You can see the idea in their head. If they can build a lead, if they can force plays on the bottom side, they can get so much work done. Good news is, they've moved up, they've rotated first. Gragas already on the bottom side, so they do have first access to the Herald, but EDG not going to give this one up without a fight. Upset good guns for the fight overall, or would have had them, but runs out of ammo on the white gun right as things kick off.
Wunder cannot join here, so I think Fnatic have to let it fully leash. Cannot commit to this one. Wunder on bottom side is going to push a wave in though, so you can see Wunder does get the extra wave into the tower, and now is starting to roam up through the river, but it's that 3-can dropping very quickly.
This is such a difficult position for Fnatic. Would have loved to have been able to take that one away. Losing the blue buff as well. A little frustration, Poppy alt now channeled. And this is the struggle of this game, Kobe, is I feel like
oh my.
Fnatic are getting little things like a wave bot lane like a kill for a kill trade on bottom lane, but every time EDG gets something, I feel like they get it for free.
And that blue buff was just like delivered. He called him up, Grubhub, please, 1 blue buff as well to go with the Rift Herald. It's actually so big for Fiora too, because early on, Fiora does have mana problems. You know, and now Flandre could just spam in lane. It's going to be role swapped here, though, and we're going to get the bottom lane from EDG rotating down to the bottom side, too. What about this red buff?
Okay, this time he's taking it for himself. This is his meal break, but uh-oh. Not delivering anything this time around. Will flash out to safety. The traps will not connect, but EDG, 4 members on the bottom side to the 2 of Fnatic. Hylissang upset speeding down to try and match, but EDG holding on to the 1K gold lead, 2-kill advantage. They got the Herald to their name as well. Difficult early game for Fnatic thus far.
Ooh, yes. Defending world champs looking pretty good today here. Woke up, chose violence, chose some aggressive solo lanes.
Yeah, as opposed to all the other days where they're just like, yeah, today no. Today we're pacifist League of Legends players. We'll go for the 0-0. The 2015 LCK special, just absolute macro.
The only question now is where will the violence occur next? And I think bottom lane, upset here, the one without flash on that Aphelios, as we talked about from Champ Select, you know, they're going to continue to look for either of these 2 carries, whether it's Viktor or Aphelios. The one without flash is going to constantly receive ganks. JieJie, though, hovering around mid, and he calls over Meiko for the jungle support move.
We saw this exact move against Jensen. Of course, it was a Maokai jungle previously, but the setup's so simple when Sejuani can kick things off. The follow-up from Thresh difficult to deal with. The Razork hovering, waiting in the area. Could have a 3v3 around the mid lane, but Hylissang can't really afford to step forward. Has the Glacial, which is so crucial in fights, but makes him so individually squishy here. They can just go for the commit. Well, Spider Knot his way out to safety for now. EDG not willing to commit any greater cooldowns.
Yeah, pretty good battle ward status there for Hilly. He knows upset is the target. Everybody's coming for my Aphelios, so he goes out, he gets some vision. He uses his anchor to be able to get himself out as well, but they're sticking around for EDG. They're committing to this. The flash is coming up so soon for upset.
Razork. JieJie waiting in the jungle immediately and trying to get the fight kicked off. A lot of burst damage is going on to Hylissang. He's so squishy. The Jigsaw now comes out. He can't even get another passive down. 3-man knock-up. The follow-up coming in. Infernum not doing nearly enough damage. EDG.
It's a double for Sejuani. It's the killer pig. The Poro Riders getting rich, Daniel.
And again, the Gyro calls come out. There is so much fuel for the EDG fire right now, and I feel like all Fnatic are is tinder for the flame. They're just getting burned in the spot lane every time they force a gank. A 3v3.
Sejuani right at the top, where she should be. Holy moly, JieJie getting rewarded. Up 20 CS, 3 kills in the jungle. Just dominating on this champ. And it's not even just playing off the melee lanes. A lot of it is off this bottom side. And retaining positioning here on the control ward, the patience, and then all he does, he blocks Razork. As Hilly goes in, it's just a flay in from Meiko with the ignite on. Viper's able to burst him down, and EDG again defend the 3v3 bottom, turning up in a ton of extra gold.
And credit to JieJie, because he's just always there to stop the Fnatic play. One time he tries to make the play himself, and backs off. It's Fnatic again who initiate. This time again, Fnatic kicking the fight off, and I feel like Upset and Hylissang have the idea of the perfect play in their heads, but the burst damage coming out from Viper, even on a single item, the combination of the Thresh, all of his skill rotation, plus the Jynx, is just killing Hylissang before he can get anything done in the fight.
Yeah. Great stuff for JieJie. Playing for the lanes, but actually getting all the kills himself.
That is the jungler dream, where your laners can't really fault you because you're there every 30 seconds, but also you're stealing all the kills.
All right, that should mean EDG playing off their bottom side control that they've gotten with 2 successive counterplay down there. Should be #1 for themselves. Also pushing out mid lane there for Scout. He teleported right back. Able to get 1 extra one into lane. And again, he's got his ultimate ready. Approaching level 11 for the rank 2 to try and, again, look for the squishier side lane to get the kill.
Wouldn't surprise me if he tries to hold it till he has rank 2 for the reduced cooldown, as now we see EDG again collapsing. Upset good guns for a fight in an extended exchange, but the Lantern comes out, stops any follow-up. Or are they going to overcommit to Hylissang? Upset good all, but it does not matter. EDG cutting gunning down members of Fnatic left and right. Razork running out, has the 10-pass presence, but Scout's not done yet. He doesn't want to wait for that level 11. Trying to finish it. There it goes. The blast cone brings it back. The knockup coming in as well. Oh, they desperately need something back here. Ulti going to be blocked. Razork flashing out to safety. At least one member will walk away. Humanoid off to the side. Upset, they need to turn. They need to get something back for this. EDG burning so many summoners. Overextending just a bit, but they will not lose anyone on the escape.
Oh my goodness, the bottom lane bloodbath down here, and it's also littered with wards. These graves over and over and over again. Here we go though. Bottom tower was taken before all that action, and the extra kill, now 4 for JieJie, but a little bit of defense there for Fnatic, chasing them out, not giving over the extra kill. It's so scary though, being around the tower as it goes down. Look at Viper, gets excited on the Jynx as Hilly hooks into the wall, and then it's an easy answer. JieJie, he hits him with the Sejuani ultimate into the Meiko hook. It's that chain of CC. This Nautilus is not tanky. And with Viper already excited on the passive, they burn him through. Then the chase over here is a little exciting. Nice little dodge there on the Q. Yeah. But nobody ends up actually going down. It's just a bunch of flashes that are burned.
Yeah. And now, looking at this again holistically, 3K gold lead for EDG, massive kill lead. They are in complete control of the game. And remember, as much fun as we're having, as much as we're talking about Deliveroo Razork with the blue buffs, this is an elimination game for Fnatic. This is do or die. Massive deficit. It means I feel like if Fnatic are going to win this, they have to go late. They have to take this Viktor scaling. They have to take this Aphelios scaling, the engage tools that they have, and find an opportunity to use them as 5, because these skirmishes are going horribly wrong every time.
Yeah, they definitely have to stop getting pulled into this fast-paced game from EDG. Allow the Viktor, allow the Aphelios to farm up. We've seen what Upset can do on this champion. Even with multiple flanking solo laners coming at him, he was able to defend himself previously. But they definitely need the money to do so.
And that's easier said than earned at this stage of the game.
Therein lies the problem.
Now, finding the money, finding the farm. Difficult situation as EDG look to take their second Herald of the game uncontested. This one will not be leashed for them. Have to pick that one up 100%. Fnatic moving down to the bottom side of the map. There's no Drake to play for, but they can lay down a bit of vision. They can set up to protect Wunder, as EDG will now move to respond, but it's really Fnatic dancing to the tune EDG is playing, just responding to the plays they're making on the map. Herald drop mid. Mid lane gonna fall. Fnatic gonna do what they can to protect the tier 2 and try to stop a second charge. But again, EDG just stacking up little wins left and right.
Razork over the wall.
Going in, can they put a ward on the Lantern? Can they stop this from going through? He's gonna stop the knockout on the way out, but now they don't have any more follow-up damage. Viper in trouble. Viper vulnerable, but there's no one else here to punish. And again, it's going to turn. Razork running, sprinting, trying to get out, but it will not happen. Fnatic, every single play they have tried to force this game has just turned in the favor of EDG.
Again, it's the EDG defense. Every Fnatic play, they counter, they disengage, they use the Thresh Lantern to get whoever out as the primary target, and then turn around. They do not let Fnatic escape any of their own plays that they have started, and EDG punished yet again. These problems are going to get worse because of the way the comps are set up. EDG obviously have 2 amazing split push champions, Akali and Fiora. And so as these outer towers go down, the map gets way more difficult for Fnatic to play, since they're the ones with the low mobility carries that are going to need a lot more protection to push out these waves.
Certainly the case. We take a look back at this play. You can see the force, the initial start here, so clean mechanically to deny Viper a way out, but Upset gets zoned away, and there is no damage follow-up onto Viper.
Yeah, JieJie does such a good job there. You pointed out, him zoning Upset, that was all of the follow-up possible damage they could have on that Razork play. And so Upset, they force out his cleanse, they push him out of the fight, and EDG, again, 2 more. Sejuani's up to 5, Dracos. 500 gold on that pig.
That is a tasty pig, my friend. Technically, I guess a Poro in this case.
True, true. The
You're
giant
getting run down
Poro.
with the cinnamon roll.
The legendary giant Poro. Wanted posters up all around town.
Yes.
500 extra gold, please. Bring me a taste.
They need to change that skin. It's not menacing enough. That Poro needs face tats. He needs a knife. Like, that Poro will one-shot you, and it still looks adorable. I feel like that is, like, misrepresentation in terms of the skin.
All right, Meiko's been able to keep every member of EDG safe thus far. Looks like that's not going to change either, as the objective bounties pop up. The game knows Fnatic need a little help to get back into this one. They're gonna try and push out on top side. They've got their eyes on that top side turret objective bounty, knowing, hey, we cannot fight any more fights. Please do not fight any even number fights. So they give up the dragon. They're also gonna possibly give up the tier 2 on bottom side. I don't know how well Wunder can do defending against this onslaught.
Yeah, the big thing for EDG is if they want to take that tower, they really have to dive or zone Wunder away from the wave. They managed to keep 2 creeps up, so they will be able to get at least a little bit of damage, potentially shred through this tower. Don't really have the range without the Jynx in the area, but as I say it, here comes the Jynx. EDG committing 5, at least for now, to the tier 2 bot lane siege.
Flandre also does have Unleashed Teleport. I think they should just put him topside to go collect the wave.
Oh, knockback, Viper, caught out, but again, there's just no follow-up. They just cannot finish a kill. So many little moments that could be something more, but EDG relentless in their push forward. Keeping the pressure on, they break the tier 2.
Every attempt to Dracos gets swatted back down.
And it's, look, I'm an EU caster. It's hard to watch, but I will say, whoever said the best defense is a good offense has not watched EDG, because it really looks like the best defense is a good defense.
The great thing with that saying, yeah, you can just switch it around to fit your circumstances.
Multi-purpose.
Also, the best offense is a good defense. In this case, it's looking like. They've got it all covered. Razork at least gonna try and get away there. Red buff though, so many problems to deal with. You know, where do you start on the checklist? You've got to deal with this vision problem, this discrepancy, in order to get your comeback play. Scout though gonna find Humanoid first, and they get the teleport into answer.
Instant teleport, Scout just ults back out to safety. And again, pure loss for Fnatic right now at the moment. Just getting the ult in exchange for the TP, not a good deal, because in the meantime, objective already started. Razork now speeding up, he knows. Sniffing this one out, a TP coming into mid lane. That's gonna be Humanoid, the entire team looking to collapse. Maybe, just maybe. Razork whiffing on the ult is big. 3K, it's getting lower and lower. He needs to get into the pick. Can he make the miracle seal happen? Razork! It will not happen. EDG now looking for the turn. Scout off to the side. He has no ultimate. EDG just need to retreat. They just need to get out. They do not need to fight for anything else. And so far, no one will fall. All 5 members of EDG walking away from the Baron.
And the crowd going wild. The EDG fans know if they win this game, they secure themselves a spot in quarters. They deny the possibility of the tie break that Fnatic wants so dearly.
And again, how quickly a story can change in a single day. Last week, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, the top of the group stacked. Fist fight across the board. Teams taking games off each other left and right, but today, Fnatic getting beaten down left and right. And this EDG, from what we saw in the game yesterday, showing us so much more. Flandre on Fiora, not something I ever thought I'd have to be worried about in a pick and ban. I'm concerned after watching these last 2 games. This man playing incredibly well individually. On top of that, JieJie on the Sejuani.
On the warpath.
On the war pig. Really, Black Sabbath over here. Just out here looking for a fight.
Honestly, it's really the supportive members of EDG that I think deserve so much credit today for today's success. Meiko and JieJie really doing all of the setup work here.
Case Hook goes in. Hook not quite going to connect. They pull him back under tower. Meiko now going to get cut down. Finally, Fnatic getting something in exchange. EDG a little overconfident. Wanted to go for the throat there, but Fnatic firing back.
That's actually a huge pick. During the Baron push here, this greatly weakens the split push and the rewards that EDG can get out of their Baron buff. Fnatic doing what is necessary to try and buy themselves a little bit of time. That little glimpse of hope is still alive for them. They put a stop to this push.
Holding on for now, and of course Viktor sent to match the Fiora. Can't walk into the lane, but can just mostly 1 or 2 shot the wave. Next wave now coming in, but EDG know they can't commit. They've only got 55 seconds left on the Baron. They get 1, maybe 2 more waves, but doesn't look like they're going to be able to leverage it to break any more tier 2s.
Huge pick there for Fnatic to stop that push, and you know, to look at the light at the end of the tunnel. We just had the scoreboard up there for Humanoid's farm. The Viktor definitely farming well, should be able to grow up into a powerhouse. You can tell him he's rushing for the minion wave. The map is very dark, so he knows he has to kill it quick and back off. They've got both Hylisang and Razork coming to try and screen for him. Since they don't quite have enough defensive wards even in their own jungle, he's able to get the wave, back right off, continue scaling that Viktor and
The big thing is we talk so much about the facilitators on the side of EDG, and they've been having an outstanding day, but it also feels like the facilitators of Fnatic are going to have to step up in these late game fights, because if you were in an upset, can't get someone out of position. If they have to fight all these members who are going to be individually stronger for so much of this game, it's going to be nigh impossible. That CC, Wunder, Razork, Hycan need to find the right angles to get these fights kicked off.
Yeah, and they have to turn into the best bodyguards ever. Bodyguard, Humanoid, and Upset. Try and keep Akali and flanking Fiora off of those carries so they can free fire. Scout, though, over the back of the Dragon. Fnatic bullying their way in.
Upset a little bit in no man's land at this very moment. He doesn't really have a way out of this one. He's gonna have to flash back into the pit. Upset, Gale forcing out for now, flashing backwards. Hycan coming over the wall, but there's an Akali off to the side. Oh, they are not the best bodyguards. They cannot protect their AD carry. A single misposition, and now Fnatic are falling apart at the seams. EDG tearing through them effortlessly, taking down Fnatic in the fight, grabbing the Dragon, taking every single thing that they want.
Flandre teleports in. The vision control for EDG will do it. They rip Fnatic to shreds. There's nowhere for the president to hide there. Upsets up behind the Dragon pit, and he's just flanked on all sides by solo laners. EDG, they're coming to finish the job.
Razork, last man standing. EDG for now, I guess don't feel like they can end the game on that one. They'll take a tower, they'll walk away, they'll set themselves up with Soul Point. There was hope at a 2K lead. It shrank a little bit every 1,000 after that. At 10K, it feels like it's gonna take a miracle for Fnatic to come back. This is so hard. 3 items for Viper. That is one terrifying Jynx.
Oh. Tries to go for the smite interrupt on the recall. Can't even get that as it times out. Here it is, Upset. Because Fnatic had lost control of their jungle so early on, they were unable to properly sweep all the wards out. So they did not know there were perfect positioning for both Scout and Flandre, the double flank up here behind the Dragon pit. And so Upset then is just completely away from the rest of the team. There's no way they can bodyguard him. They're trying to get a 2v1 on Scout on the side lane here, but that's Akali. Good luck with that one.
It's hard. They can't bodyguard, they can't be assassins. It is a hard time right now, as now the engage is coming in. War pick here, Razork gonna fish for the disengage. They take 2 members out of the fight, that's an opportunity. But no one has the follow-up. No one wants to overcommit in that exchange. Fiora already barreling down the mid lane, and this is the struggle of Fnatic. It is so hard to find a good opportunity to even take a single member of EDG down.
Oh, this EDG team is really ramping up for their game against T1 at the end of the day as well. Looking quite scary here, and also not having to show a lot of variation today. This is very similar to how they took down Cloud9.
Absolutely. Scaling matched on the bottom side. You've got the Thresh again. Again, you have a jungler who is a tank who can set up these ganks. And
same exact
solo lane. So T1 are going to have to respond to this without any awareness of what else EDG could have prepared for the final match, for the final showdown in this group. Of course, EDG guaranteed top 2, but still want to fight for first seed. We know how important seeding can be as we head towards best of 5s. If, of course, EDG win this one. Fnatic holding on for dear life. They're going to have to weather the storm of another Baron. An Ocean Soul fight after that. It will be fight after fight after fight if Fnatic want to get themselves out of this deficit.
All right. Step number 1, carve out a small area on the map with Fog of War that you can try and make a surprise play. Maybe a pincer move when EDG spread the map. You know, the winning team always wants to play on multiple lanes to push out, get as much as possible with their Baron buff. They're 1-3-1 right now. Fnatic, just overload one side and send everybody at them.
Maybe find the opportunity. Maybe hoping to bait someone in from the side of EDG. Hoping for the overcommittal. We saw it from Meiko. One time this game he's overcommitted, and Fnatic work quick to punish. Holding onto this tier 2 as long as possible. Stepping forward into JieJie, but very tanky pig. Flandre now in the back of there, just killing him. Oh, it does not matter. The tower is not significant. Might as well be a cannon creep. Humanoid getting run down. EDG on the hunt. They're ready to break into the base. They're ready to knock open another inhibitor.
Killer Sejuani strikes again. That's 6 for JieJie. He's gonna go legendary this game.
Most impressive statistical Sejuani performance I have ever seen. 14 out of 15 KP. This man has been making everything happen on the Rift, and it could be the final hold for Fnatic. They've got Wunder, no cask to his name. Upset with an ultimate and a cleanse. Humanoid with a bit of wave clear as well. Upset still stepping forward, but the slow now coming in. Flandre zoning him away. Good guns for a fight, but EDG empowered minions coming in on the top side. Scout breaking an inhibitor on the bottom side. Surely these are the final moments of Fnatic at Worlds 2022. Tension. Holding, clearing as many waves as they can. Feels like an inevitability at this point. EDG looking for one misstep, one opportunity to go in, but Hylissang will start the fight. The hook goes in. Flandre now to the side, can't even be stopped. JieJie now stepping forward. One already down, the reset's coming in. Viper knocked back, but again, not into the waiting arms of Fnatic. Not enough to stop EDG from pressing forward. EDG tearing through Fnatic, knocking them out of the group, locking themselves in the quarterfinals.
Edward Gaming are wide awake, and everyone should be in fear. Back-to-back quick matches for them. JieJie and Meiko, my goodness, these two on point, play after play after play, completely shutting down anything Fnatic try and get started.
And the first time they played, Fnatic were crawling out of a hole from minute 1, and they managed to find a few of those opportunities. This time you saw some proactivity from Fnatic, but EDG matched and outmatched it every single time. Cannot highlight enough. Incredible performance from that pig in the jungle, or boar rider, officially. On the opposite side, of course, it's a heartbreaker for Fnatic. Coming out of week 1, EU fans and Fnatic fans were feeling alive to be going toe-to-toe with Fnatic, to be going toe-to-toe with T1 after a rough playoffs was an incredible start to the tournament. But today, it just all came crashing down. It was an honor, sir.
Getting smashed by EDG. I was gonna go for the meme.
I thought you were gonna give me a hug. I'm not gonna lie, Kobe.
Bring it in.
They'll go home together. They'll go home together, Kobe.
I'm used to it.
I'm not, man.
Honestly, yeah, EDG really ramping up. This does get me excited for the game at the end of the day. That rematch with T1. Definitely gonna be exciting stuff. Viper, of course, I feel like Viper was the beneficiary of so much great setup play for all of the defense and the timing here from JieJie, playing to bottom side, constantly countering these ganks. The 3v3s always went their way, and Viper just got to let loose.
Yeah.
Jynx firing away from the backside.
Absolutely, but I think it is so important that across this game, Kobe, you were highlighting the Thresh, you were highlighting the Sejuani, because Viper's always going to look statistically good when he has those bodyguards, when he has the people setting up, when he has the people peeling for him. And Viper, no doubt, played fantastically, but this was so much about the utility side of the EDG lineup, playing the map well, playing the fights well, and honestly reading Fnatic like a book the entire game.
Definitely good stuff. Excited to see it move forward. Fnatic, unfortunately for them though, this loss does mean no chance at the tiebreaker. They are also eliminated.
And the final game of the day as well. Cloud9, of course, a chance to upset the apple cart a little bit, even if they are mathematically eliminated at this stage. We'll see how each of the teams bounce back. I'm really gearing up towards the T1 EDG rematch, which is, I think banger is the simple word, not to go into, any more granular detail than that. Emily, Dag, they can talk more about the detail.
I am hoping, because one of the things that's been popping up in Champions School a lot has been Heimerdinger support. All the teams have been, a couple games here, a couple games there. So as teams start to get eliminated, and we get some of these, like you're talking about fun ones, I'm hoping we get to see the emergence of the Donger.
Yeah. That is one thing to hope for. I thought you were going to hope for a high-level tactical play. You're like, no, the Heimerdinger. And honestly, I can't blame it. I like my spice.
I will take one Heimerdinger at Worlds 2020.
Yes, please, sir. Of course, a lot can change depending on the games coming up ahead of us. EDG, or rather T1, of course, playing up against Cloud9. An upset there can shake up the standings. But for now, if everything goes to expectation, it feels like we're gearing up for one final game between EDG and T1 to see who will take first seed in the group. That said, every time I feel like NA is mathematically eliminated, they unlock some greater power level that allows them to beat any team in the world.
Surprise.
So we'll have to see. There's a chance that nothing goes to expectation for the rest of the day.
Yep. Definitely some more fun in store for us as we're getting our interview ready on stage. All right, I'm looking for Heimerdinger. What's your dream?
What's your
dream pick?
I'm going to be honest, Kane. I'm a sucker for Kane.
Okay, Kane
I'm
too.
Kane.
But you would like blue.
No, the second I said Kane, they're like, we're ready for the interview. They don't want to hear it. And I can't blame them, because we're joining Shocks, our translator Iris, on stage with Flandre for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you very much, Dracos. Indeed, as EDG locks in their spots to the quarterfinals, and honestly has played exceptional so far today. Flandre, can you tell me why it is that you feel that you've had such an exceptional performance specifically on this day?
首先，恭喜你们拿下了今天的比赛胜利，而且现在是成功进入到了8强的比赛。想问一下，进入到第2周的一个赛事之后，你们是为什么能够有今天这么出色的一个表现呢？
我觉得首先是，其实我们最近都是生病的人比较多嘛，然后我们今天也有一位选手没来赛场，所以我觉得我们是带着必须带他进8强那种决心，所以今天基本上都不会犯失误。
最后一句是什么？
就是今天基本上大家都不犯失误。
So I would say because recently, like a lot of us were kind of sick, so and one of us were absent on the stage. So definitely we hold the mind that we have to make it out of groups to the quarterfinals. So that will say like we didn't have too many mistakes in today's games.
Okay, in order to all be together in those quarterfinals. When it comes to the group, you have locked in T1 with you into the quarterfinals thanks to that win, but you do have the rematch coming up later, which I know fans are super excited about. What's going to be the key to being able to take down T1 later today?
现在因为是在组内一起跟 T1 出现到8强的这样的一个情况嘛，那你们马上也要即将跟 T1 来一场再对决了。你觉得能够赢下下一场对阵到他们的比赛的一个关键是什么呢？
我觉得下一场对战 T1 的话，首先还是我们自己这边心态要放平嘛，因为我们现在虽然出现了，但是还是不能掉以轻心嘛。下一场还是看完他们比赛以后再商量为主。
So definitely, even though we already secure our spot in the quarterfinals, but we'll definitely won't get off guard. And also we have to go through some their matches to see how we're going to face off against them. Also, we will definitely try our best. And, you know, because they're, yeah, that's basically, that's it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it is going to be a hype matchup, but you will be playing the best of 5s next. How comfortable do you feel going into those best of 5s with the added pressure of the defending of your title?
那其实马上进入到下一个阶段，其实也是要开始打 BO5 了嘛。所以说，那你会不会感觉到可能这个赛程上面，尤其是作为卫冕冠军来的话，会不会有压力呢？
压力肯定是会有的，但是我觉得只要我们准备的够充分的话 ，BO5 还是我们的强项嘛。
We'll say yes for the pressure point because this is the best of 5. But as long as we get well prepared, then best of 5 is the point that we're good at.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Flandre and Iris. And we're going to kick it over to the State Farm Analyst desk.
Thank you so much, Rhuckz. Continued incredible performances out of EDG. Destroy the hopes of now both Western regions when it comes to making the knockout stage. So we're moving to copium for both the LEC and the LCS with that one. This EDG roster is actually hard smashing people today in order to lock themselves in the knockout stage and T1 along with them, as you heard Rhuckz say. Only our 6th game of the day will determine which one of those two teams gets the first and which one gets the second. But Kobe said it during the cast itself, and it continues to be evident. The supporting players for EDG, both in Meiko and JieJie, coming up so big for this team time and time again.
Yeah, and there was a few groans from the Western analysts downstairs when the Meiko got his Thresh once more, but there's a reason for it, right? I think this was absolutely incredible how well EDG were able to play around this bottom side, turning around a lot of the plays that Fnatic were attempting to go for. Even when it looked like it was going to be good for Fnatic, it felt like EDG were always settled, ready, and with hooks like this, able to turn those plays around.
And I think the other important player I do want to point out is JieJie, right? Because he is a player that we're looking to have maybe a stronger performance than what he showed in the first round robin. And Fnatic did a good job of tracking him, but he was still able to, after that bot play where they were able to trade, he was then able to go in the mid lane, get Scout ahead, and after that, it still made a massive difference because, as we've already said, Scout is absolutely feeling himself today. I know he's playing from isolation, but he is feeling it. And as soon as JieJie was able to get off those ganks, he just ran with it.
That's an incredibly high jungle proximity. I just want to point that out. 52%, while it seems like a middling number on the scale of 1 to 100%, it's actually very high for jungle proximity. So he is giving a lot of attention to his lane.
More than half the time he spent on the map was by his laner.
Exactly.
Like, that is absolutely absolutely insane. But I think that's the big thing about JieJie, right? Is that like when we looked at him back in 2021, he actually wasn't stepping up as this like big jungler. Even when we saw it in 2021 summer playoffs, he was a little bit lackluster. He was actually dealing a lot with stress and nerves and didn't really know how to deal with that as an outlet. But then when it came to important games, that's when JieJie stepped up. When we saw him get into the World's playoffs, that's where he was absolutely incredible and actually set up Scout to be the finals MVP with the performance he put in hand in that mid jungle. And it feels like we're starting to see the same thing again now for JieJie, that when the chips are down, JieJie's actually able to step up for EDG once more when it matters.
Yeah, so we're talking about these players, primarily Meiko, JieJie, as being big difference makers in their performance today for EDG. But do we feel like it's these players stepping up to the, like the level that we've always known they have, and they're just realizing it here? Is it pick related? Because we've noticed that Thresh has gone over. Like, where is that extra gear being found for these guys that EDG just looks like a completely different, level of team here in week 2 than week 1?
Well, we've already talked about EDG's playstyle, right? And what they like to do. And what they like to do is path mid and path bot. And guess what JieJie has been doing today? Pathing mid and pathing bot. And obviously having Meiko on something like the Thresh, I've talked about how much of a difference maker it is because his initiation sense is so good. So that kind of does allow him to guide a lot of these skirmishes. And also, as we saw in the bot lane, turn things around when they don't necessarily look favorable.
I think as well, when you look at EDG, a lot of this is, especially for someone like JieJie, like very reliant on like emotional output, right? Where when you look, he's like removed himself from the team and had Jynx step in at his own discrepancy. He was like, I want to take myself out because I don't feel like I'm playing well. So when they come in and they've had a good start to the day, it feels like they're a very momentum-based team where they're able to ride that forward. And we're seeing the outcome again, right? They basically run back a very similar composition to what we saw from earlier on the day, and they play a very similar style of, okay, let's get ahead through mid, through bot, and start to snowball that effectively through double Rift Heralds.
Now, firing on all cylinders today is EDG, but they effectively eliminate Fnatic from the tournament. 2-4 will be the record score for them in groups. Let's just get a quick word on them as they exit the tournament. I mean, that week 1 performance, they completely warped the perception of this group. While, yes, a lot of people looked at all 4 of the teams and said you could order them in any way, and that would be a reasonable outcome. This Fnatic roster, the way they went through plans and into this group stage, I think really made people evaluate the perceptions of Group A.
Especially when you look at like both themselves and Rogue sitting at the top of the group. Yes, Fnatic were tied, but when you saw them being able to take it toe-to-toe against a team like T1, I think it was rightfully so that EU fans got to rally behind Fnatic, and they looked good. It felt good to be a Fnatic supporter. And it's just unfortunate that the wheels kind of came off here in the second week, where we saw the Azir taken away every single game against Humanoid. They couldn't play as strongly through that mid-jungle, and unfortunately it felt like that's where Fnatic started to fall apart.
For Fnatic, quite obviously, not the way they would have wanted the journey to end, but for EDG, they're perfectly positioned to grab that 1 seed pending the results of the last game of the day. Now, while C9 may be eliminated from the tournament, they still have one last battle ahead of them. And as we go, we're getting to know Cloud9's ADC Berserker in this episode of OnePlus. Welcome to the Rift.
Hello, my name is Berserker. I play ADC for C9. 사실 뭐 지금 와서 생각해 보면은 되게 많은 일들이 있었는데 그때 당시에는 그냥 뭐 어쩌겠냐, 그냥 내가 할 수 있는 최선을 다해야지 하면서 지냈었던 것 같아요. 뭐 팀적으로도 당연히 높게 올라가고 싶은 마음은 굴뚝 같지만 일단 제 개인적인 퍼포먼스를 좀 롤드컵에서 보여주고 싶은 마음이 큰데 좀 지더라도 약간 뭐랄까 멋있게 지고 싶다? 약간 이런 느낌이 있는 것 같아요. 이기면 더 좋은 거고. 일단 항상 진짜 뭐 질 때든 이길 때든 항상 뭐 응원해 주셔서 너무 감사하고 팬분들이 있기에 지금 제가 여기 있다고 생각을 해서 진짜 그냥 감사하다는 말밖에 할 수 없는 것 같아요.